Awesome. So this is my Did You Know mini series of wellness education for you guys. And I want to thank you so much again for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit this afternoon. And I had asked you last time I was on what you wanted to learn about. And many of you, I did a little poll, many of you expressed that you'd like to learn about salt and your health, right? So that is going to be our topic for today. And if you have any other topics that you'd like to learn about, just share them in the comments here. I'll go back and I'll check in on that and put as many as you'd like, on anything about life, really, because my methodology and what we practice together is about your whole life. So exercise, nutrition, stress and sleep, mindset, vision, education, of course, that's what we're doing today, and definitely community, right? And how community can impact you and help you get to your goals. So we're going to talk about the real deal about salt and what it means to your health and wellness. So salt, I had to take 3, this is so crazy, you guys. When I first went to school, I went to University of Delaware, and I was a fashion business major. And I had to take 3 chemistry classes as a prerequisite for a textile class. And one of those classes was organic chemistry. And I've been kind of reliving this. My daughter she's a junior in high school, and she's taking an organic chem class right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so hard. And one day I will tell you a very, very funny story about something that happened in my organic chem class. And any of you who have gone to a large school with these giant, almost auditoriums, right, for your classes, you will definitely relate to this, but I will save that for another day. I'll entice you with that so you come back and see me again. But sodium chloride, NaCl, right? I remember that from my 3 semesters of chemistry. So sodium is essential. It's essential for our cells' happiness, right? The homeostasis and how happy our cells are, because our body is made up of cells. And it also helps us to balance water and minerals. And there's a big part of it for contracting and relaxing muscles and nerve impulses that relate to your muscle contraction and relaxation. And I would think that most of you, let me take a survey here, type it in. What do you think is, like, when you think of salt in your diet, what do you relate that to in terms of your health? Like, what do you relate it to? What do you think? What have you heard about? Just send me something in the comments. Salt, and how does salt affect your body? Like, what does it negatively impact? Come on, guess. Come on, ladies. I know you have something there. Come on, Sherry, give me something. Tell me. What do you think? All right. I guess you're not going to answer me. You can, though, if you want. Let's see. Blood pressure. Yes, my friend. Thank you. Increased blood pressure. Absolutely. You are totally 100% right. But I'm going to enlighten you about some other things today. So yes, excess salt is going to have, or can have, a negative impact on your blood pressure. But here's the cool thing I learned. You can have other things that happen to your body with excess salt without having an impact on your blood pressure. So it doesn't mean like you have to have impact on your blood pressure for these other things to happen. These other things can happen even if it doesn't affect your blood pressure. So some of the research that I found has shown that, even if your blood pressure isn't elevated, right, from excess dietary salt, it can have an effect on things like your blood vessels, your actual heart, your kidneys, your brain, your bones in a kind of a roundabout way. And I'll tell you that in a little bit. So have you ever experienced this before? You get all dolled up and you go out with your partner or your girlfriends to a fabulous restaurant and you're looking for water. Yes, water retention, Wanda, water retention. But I know what you mean. So you go out and you're all dressed up. You have this amazing meal, right? Like explosions of flavors, going on all night or afternoon or wherever you're dining for whatever meal. And you leave there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best meals I ever had. But by the time you leave, your pants are feeling a little tighter around your waist, right? And then you go home and you change into your really comfy jammies and you feel this sense of relief, right? I think you all know what I'm talking about. And especially if you I'm a big jammy person, so I love putting my jammies on at night no matter what, but especially after I've gone out for like a decadent meal. But then when you wake up in the morning, what do you feel like, right? Sometimes I feel like my lips are puffy, or my rings are really tight, right? Like they're strangling my fingers. Or like when I step out of bed, my feet feel like puffy against the floor. Can you guys relate to this? Give me a thumbs up if you can relate to this. Have you ever experienced this? Thumbs up if you've ever experienced it, right? So, or have you experienced something else that I didn't talk about with that, right? Or you might have belly bloat. For me, it's the most uncomfortable thing is like my hands, my extremities, my hands and my feet. And you consume excess sodium, right, on a regular basis. So you see what happens when you just do it like once in a while, right? And then I believe in balance. You can go crazy every once in a while. But the problem is when you consume excess sodium on a regular daily basis, your kidneys are going to have a hard time keeping up with that on a daily basis, right? So what happens is when your kidneys can't keep up with it, right, and process it all, the excess water, no, let me back up. I think I skipped something. So your kidney, there's too much salt, right? And then what happens is you hold on to water to dilute the rest, right? And then the excess water that surrounds your cells to dilute it increases the amount of blood in your bloodstream. And then this leads to more work for your heart. So your heart has to work harder now. And that puts more pressure on your blood vessels. So over time, if this is a thing, you have excess sodium in your diet on a regular basis, if you keep loading your body with salt, your heart working so hard all the time, what happens over time is that your arteries can stiffen, hardening of the arteries. And this leads to high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke. Isn't that crazy? Right? Just from having a little too much, not a little, but regular too much salt in your diet. And sodium also has an effect on your brain and your bones. So your brain helps control your blood pressure, right? And also the relationship with that to your muscle contraction that I mentioned before. And in terms of your bones, it affects your calcium loss, right, which will be pulled from your bones. And to me, this is a really big problem, really big deal for women our age, because we have to worry about the health of our bones after we have this depleted estrogen, right, in our body from menopause. So I want to share some statistics with you. I have them here. So our body's requirements for sodium are less than 500 milligrams a day. But the average consumption daily in the United States is over 3,200 milligrams a day. So less than 500 is what we need. Hi, Deb. Hey, Karen. Karen, this was your suggestion for this topic. So we need less than 500 milligrams, and we're consuming generally 3,200 milligrams a day. So I have some data here. So from 2003, there was, in 2008, relatively, there was 99.4% to 97% of US adults consume more sodium than recommended by the American Heart Association. And about 70% of sodium in our diet, hear this, is in processed food. About 70%, 70, in our diet is in processed foods. And you guys know how much I love processed foods. No, I don't. I don't. And I do not, support that at all. So here's a general consensus. Excess sodium is pretty detrimental to your health, particularly your heart health. And cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death for women in our country. So like, think about these things. A simple change in your life in terms of sodium can have a huge impact, right? But listen to this. The Food and Drug Administration, I'm going to read this, considers sodium added in food, so added salt in food, to be generally regarded as safe. So, you know, the food industry gloms right onto that because it makes their food highly palatable. So it's really funny, you guys, I do so much research on so many topics. And those of you who've been with me for a long time, you know this, and you've heard a lot of these topics, especially if you're in my food camp. But the bottom line is, every time I do one of these topics, the answer is exercise regularly, don't eat processed food, drink water all day long. Those 3 things, it makes it so simple. So here's my take on salt. #1, you want to shop in the outer aisles of the grocery store because all the prepared foods are in the middle. There's some that's not, you know, you can go get your rices and those kinds of things. But in general, you want to shop and buy whole things, putting whole foods in your shopping cart. Because when you make your meal, you know exactly what's going into that meal, including the salt. All right. So you want to prepare your own food with whole single ingredients that you control. Right. #2, track your food for a week or 2. Right. But you don't want to change anything that you normally do because you want to see how much sodium you're typically eating. What are your sodium habits? And if you're in food camp, you know that you can do this. And maybe I'll talk to Robin about you guys talking about sodium next week, so you can see what you're doing and what kind of changes that you can make to, and I'm going to talk about some that I would suggest to get your sodium to a safe and healthy level. The other thing that you can do is you can replace salt with other seasonings. So if you're consuming too much, try replacing the salt with other herbs and spices to add flavor. The thing about salt and sugar is they're malleable, right? Your palate actually will adjust to the decrease or the increase, right? So if you're drinking soda all the time, right, you're taking in that sodium and that sugar, and that's going to increase, which the food industry loves. They love that they're increasing your palate and your desire for these highly palatable foods. But your palate will actually adjust to this and decrease over time. If you've done my 6-week challenge, you know this, right? You know that after a week or 2, if you go and have a giant bowl of pasta or a couple of slices of pizza, that you're not feeling so great after, and it actually doesn't even taste that good to you anymore because you have started to change your palate, right? You know, try adding cayenne pepper, you know, spicy. I just prepared a talk recently for some of Robin and I worked on this together, members of our food camp program about this. And there are many, many health benefits, huge, of adding this kind of pepper to your diet. There's an ingredient in it or something in it that actually is incredibly healthy. I mean, the statistics are crazy too. Like something like people, when they studied the different groups of people who had this pepper in their diet on 6 out of 7 days a week, they lived like something like 13 years longer on average. So I have been adding a lot of pepper to my meals, and I really love it. Karen Kremp actually asked me about the different types of salts. So what I've learned from this research is it's really a matter of your taste. There are a couple things you want to think about, which I'm going to tell you about right now. So all salts are made from sodium chloride, right? And the nutrients in the salt are very, 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 very little from one source to another. But here's some things I want you to think about. Let's talk about table salt. Table salt is harvested from like underground salt deposits in the earth, right? But it's heavily processed to remove impurities. And in so doing, when they process it, they remove any trace or most of the trace minerals. And it's ground up super, super, super fine, right? Then we have kosher salt, which I use kosher salt all the time. It's very coarsely ground salt, and it is used, and it was made that way for kosher food preparation. Then we have sea salt. And sea salt is exactly that. Sea salt is harvested from the ocean or the sea. And it's not processed like table salt. So it has a different color to it. And it's coarsely ground. So it can have like this darker color. And that's because it's showing some of those impurities and nutrients that aren't taken out because it's not processed. But you want to keep in mind, and I'm going to research this a little bit more, but you want to keep in mind that it's coming from the sea. So some of the impurities can contain metals that are found in ocean water, like lead. Don't go crazy. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that. Then we have Himalayan pink sea salt, right? I've used that before. We actually use it in the 6-week challenge, the Himalayan pink sea salt. And that is harvested from mines in Pakistan. And it's really similar to sea salt. And it has minerals like, I think, iron and calcium, potassium. There's one other. I think magnesium. The other thing that you can do, if you're concerned about reducing sodium in your diet, you can make your own seasoning blends. And I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. Let me talk about that right now. I have all sorts of samples here. So let's say this is Weber beer can chicken seasoning. All right. And it is, it has 290 milligrams of sodium in a serving, and a serving is 1 teaspoon, right? The very first ingredient on here is salt. So you know that the first ingredient is always the most abundant ingredient. So 290 milligrams, it's not too bad. You're going to use this on a bunch of things, so not bad, but just know that salt is the first ingredient. So that's one. This is one that I have in my own cabinet. Let's see, what else? Is that the only one I had? I think that's the only one I had. All right. Oh, no. Let me show you this one. This is very common. I use this when I'm cooking like my black beans, or I'm doing some sort of I put this sometimes in guacamole. So this is Goya adobo, all-purpose seasoning. This is, it's in Spanish. It is 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon has 360 milligrams of sodium. So when you're looking at this, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to make my black beans, and I'm going to put, a half a teaspoon of this in my beans. How many servings is my beans? And then you can figure out how much sodium is in that. And if you're using MyFitnessPal, you can put your recipe into MyFitnessPal with this, and it'll calculate all of that out. You just have to make sure you put in the serving sizes. So the very first ingredient here is, guess what, guys? Salt. All right. Let's see. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about infused salts. I freaking love these things. So I'm going to do a little plug for Metropolitan Seafood. I get these. They're called Saltopia, and they're infused. So unlike this is a garlic salt. It's actually dried garlic and salt, and when you can grind it together. These are actually infused with different things. So this is black garlic is infused into this sea salt. It's really nice. It smells great, and they just taste really wonderful. I don't know if you can see that. See that? They're great. So I use that. They have tons of flavor. They're really awesome. This one is I use this to do like in some of my jerk chicken. Jet Lawless. So it's got a little bit of a spice, and you can see there's all sorts of different things in there. See that? Good. So you can get these. It's called Saltopia, and you can get them at Metropolitan Seafood, or I'm sure you could Google it. Ingredients: sea salt, of course, because it's a salt product, right? Sea salt, cloves, cinnamon, vanilla bean, pineapple, coconut, orange zest, and they give a lot of flavor with a lot of punch. And then, so here's I wanted to talk to you guys about table salt. I don't use table salt. I don't like that it's so processed. Table salt is super, super finely ground. And I mean, look at the little holes in the top of this salt shaker. There's no way that kosher salt or any of these other salts are going to fit and work in my beautiful China salt shaker. So I do have it, but it's like super, super, see that? See how little it is versus these. This is kosher. So it's not going to fit in there. So what I do is I have all these little bowls, and I just have a little spoon, and that's how we use it if you want to add salt on. Sea salt. So here's some sea salt. You can get this. This is finely ground. The other thing that you can do is you can get crystals, right? And you can actually put them in a pepper mill, right? And you can grind that way. So it's all about surface area. You know, if you want to have like this like punch of flavor, you know, you can just take a few of these coarsely ground and put it on your food, and it's going to give you this, you know, burst of flavor. Or if you want to infuse it more, you know, into what you're cooking, you're going to grind it up pretty fine because it's got more surface area that way. So you can use less for what you're cooking, right? What was the other thing I wanted to tell you guys? The mill, the different salts. Oh, I thought this would be really fun. So I was going to take some common food. So this is the Girl Scout cookies, the tag-alongs. These are the peanut butter cookies. And I want you to guess. So the serving size is 2 cookies, 140 calories. I want you to guess how many milligrams of sodium in 2 cookies. Give me a guess. Come on, Karen. Give me a guess. You guys not guessing? Okay. So in 2 cookies, 80 milligrams. 2 cookies, 80 milligrams. This, which I love ketchup so much, but oh my gosh, it's just loaded. So this is let's see, we have 74 servings per container. 1 tablespoon is the serving size. In 1 tablespoon of butter. Think about when you put ketchup on your plate, like with your eggs or your potatoes or whatever you're having, or your burger. 1 tablespoon as 170 milligrams of sodium. We also have, I thought this would be fun, Luna bars. So these are these little itty bitty, oh no, these aren't the teeny tinies. Luna bar, okay? The Luna bar has 190 calories and it has 85 milligrams of sodium. So not horrible. Rolled oats. So we're looking at a whole food, right? None of these were whole foods. This is a whole food. Guess how many milligrams of sodium per serving? Give me a guess. Come on, you guys, give me a guess. Come on, guys, give me a guess. All right, if you're not going to guess, 0. Whole food, 0, right? I've got a couple more here. We have, I don't know where this came from. Kashi Go Love. My daughters must have bought this. Okay, Kashi Go Love, 10 grams of protein, chocolate crunch. So it has, wow, it has 10 grams of protein. That's pretty high. But let's talk about sodium. So it's a 3/4 of a cup, 120 milligrams of sodium. So you can see how quickly your sodium can add up throughout the day. Tostitos. This is medium spice, chunky salsa. And this guy has 250 milligrams of sodium for 2 tablespoons of salsa. Think about that. 2 tablespoons of salsa could easily be like 3 chips full or 4 chips full. So bringing awareness about sodium to all you guys. And the last thing I have here is a little can of solid weight tuna from Aldi's. And it is how many ounces? So it's 5 ounces. So the whole can drained has 280 milligrams of sodium. All right. Any questions? All right, I just want to add one more thing about exercise and sodium. salt sensitivity, right, of your blood pressure decreases with higher levels of physical activity. So basically, the more you exercise, the more sensitive you are for salt. So it's going to help to decrease the negative effects of salt on your blood pressure. Okay. I had something else I wanted to read to you here. It's my last thing. Okay. So elevated blood pressure, cholesterol, and smoking are the major risk factors for heart disease. And out of all of these, raised blood pressure is the most important cause, accounting for 62% of strokes and 49% of heart disease. So what I'd like to leave you with today is this. Again, exercise regularly, cook with single whole ingredients, eliminate processed foods from your world. Just totally, get them out of there as best you can. Sometimes it's hard to make your own salsa or whatever, but just do it in balance and be aware. Take the 2-week challenge and record your foods and track all your foods in MyFitnessPal and see how enlightening it is. And then come back and, share your results with us. And I think maybe we're going to, like I said before, we'll do that in food camp. And last but not least is support your community and dine out regularly, but not frequently. Okay. So my night is, Friday night. Go out on Friday night, support my local restaurants, but I'm not going out every night and eating at the local restaurants. So that is my spiel for today. I hope that it was informative and helpful and that it serves you and your wellness. And I'm here to answer any questions if anybody has any at this point. You can just type them on in there and we're good to go. Gimme questions. Any questions, comments? Did you like it? What did you relate to? Do you think you have too much sodium in your diet? What do you guys think? What say you? All right, I'm not getting any love in here, but that's all right. I love you guys, even though you're not commenting or giving me what I want here. So please go ahead and leave me messages for what you'd like to hear about. I'm working on another topic for Thursday, so I'll be back with that. And if you're interested in, some of our programs where you learn tons and tons and tons and tons of this kind of stuff to incorporate. Oh, thanks, Dee. Super informative. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, so we teach you guys this stuff all the time. You're very welcome, Sherry. Thanks for the comments. I appreciate it. And I'll be back with more. But definitely, if you're interested, if you're a member, we have a really cool special offer for you guys to join the next challenge that starts on November 9th. You're going to rock and soar through the holidays. Start 2021 with a bang and a forward momentum, so you're not going to have to undo all this stuff from the holidays. We'll have a lot of fun together. We'll learn together and exercise together and just rock out this holiday season. All right. Have a great night, everybody. And if you think this was really great and helpful and it served you, maybe you share it with a friend that it can help and serve her as well. All right. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful night. And anybody who's in my 4 seasons, 12-month program, I will see you tonight at group coaching. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.